focus on the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Fingers to the down, hold it.
Recession canceled. That's the bottom. It's bullish. Bro, this ain't a bull. Look at that. That ain't a bull. It's not as big as you thought. It's tiny. Like, do you not see the daily chart? Thank you, Max. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just having a little fun. Today was absolutely wild. Literally, it was fascinating, but we have a lot to talk about. There was a lot of action in the morning. If you did not see today, it was a lot. We woke up with the PPI, Producer Price Index, another inflation metric that came in higher than expected. The dollar went above the 2020 high and is now one of the highest points we've seen in a very, very long time. Then you had the yield curve again a little bit more further inverted, and then you also had the Fed future still pricing in 100 basis points. And I think there was one more thing. Oh yeah, the yen even weakened to a crazy part, and we also had negative bank earnings in the morning. So there was a lot. The market opened down lower than that 2-week little window we've been talking about. It was able to bounce up, but now for tomorrow we got a big data release, and now where this is pointing for the next few weeks and what we're going to deal with Powell, the story has definitely heated up. So we got a lot to talk about. I got the recap. I have the plays. I made a bunch today, and then even for tomorrow, I got a couple that I'm looking at. So drop your thumbs up on the video, or that's a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. First link, baby. I'm not going to rip this shirt. Why would I do that? DFS. God bless you, Chad. But right off the bat, let's start with the keys. Like I said, today was truly fascinating. And the reason why, you actually got to see the Fed fully reprice right before your eyes. So take a look. We were down here, but these two parts are what you need to realize. We were near the lows and we started to run up. This was Fed Waller right there. And then later in the day, we also got to hear from Fed Bullard. And this is what changed the trajectory. Why? Because you literally got to watch the Fed communicate in real time and bring down the probability of 100 basis point rate hike. Remember, yesterday was the CPI, came in hot. People were kind of reacting like last time. They got worried and the Fed futures began to price in 100 basis points after Canada already did it. But now today we got to hear from two Fed speakers, and pretty much they both said, listen, 75 basis points is our base case. Even Fed Waller said, if we don't do 100 basis points, it doesn't mean we're not doing our job, because he said 100 is big and 75 is adequate enough. But literally, you watch them walk back the comments. And this is what I said yesterday. Difference between last CPI and this one is that there was a 2-week gap now between CPI and Fed, where last month it was only 2 days and there was a Fed blackout period. You didn't get to hear from the Fed. So why this is important, because this is what helped today be less bearish. I don't think it was bullish, but it definitely made things less bearish. We were able to react to it, but now, between now and the Fed, any Fed comments and any market pricing, it's clear that it's sensitive today and it is going to move big. But that was the big thing. Fed probabilities went from 80%. Now it's back to pricing in a majority for 75. And this was very big. And even on top of it now, Fed Bullard, he made a comment, and honestly, he might have slipped up a little bit, because he said if they do 75, that's his base case. But he said one more rate hike at 75 would bring the Fed to the neutral rate. Why is this weird? Because the Fed really hasn't communicated where neutral is. Literally, I don't even think Powell has said it, and the dot plot kind of puts it around the high 3s, high 4s, but 175 basis point hike from here, that puts us at 2.25, and literally some people are saying that may be the Fed's breaking point, where they might have to pivot depending on how things go. So don't take my word for that. Again, I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but the whole point today was all of the Fed futures and expectations moving, and now this battleground between what we're going to have with the rate hikes, that is what we saw take place. So that was the first big thing. The second big thing, like I said here at the beginning, dollar absolutely went crazy, and it is a very, very big problem at this point. But now you got to watch the yen play along. Europe is not looking good. And now this is the story now coming into next week. Why? We have one more week to kill. Powell and that debate and what they're going to do, that's going to be the first thing. But if the dollar keeps going crazy, especially after these earnings, and then if the yen and the euro situation destabilizes more, these are probably going to be the key factors again, either tomorrow, over the weekend, and then bringing us into next week. So there was that. Finally, for tomorrow, the big data is going to be the University of Michigan consumer sentiment, and this data has the ability to move the market, the dollar, and the Fed futures, and that's kind of what you got to understand right now. A lot of people don't realize equities are different from the dollar, and dollar and equities, they can move different at times. Even though we notice correlations and we notice kind of things responding and eventually they'll catch up to each other, they can disagree with each other. So keep this in mind for tomorrow. That University of Michigan consumer sentiment, that comes out at 10 a.m. So about 30 minutes after open, you're getting a bunch of retail sales data and industrial production in the morning as well. And that could be key, but watch how equities respond, watch how the dollar responds, and now watch how the Fed futures respond as people are going to start responding to that, especially as we get closer to Powell. But really, we had a lot this week. We broke down to the range today. Tomorrow's data, we're either going to see if we're going to end it on a calm note or if things are going to get crazy. So that is pretty much it. So I already said so. Let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I made a couple of different plays today. Again, I went with the BTU and we'll go over those plays. But now coming into tomorrow and especially next week, I'm starting with EWI. This is an Italy ETF. I made a play on this one today. I grabbed this September $15 puts. I grabbed 10 of them for 16 cents. They went up a little bit. The spreads are wide, but be very careful. I have it right here. You should know the dangers of these country ETFs. Again, it is an ETF. It moves very, very weird. If you're far out the money, you could catch the move and still lose. Again, our EWGs are going to expire tomorrow, and we're about 50 cents out of the money, but that's nothing. Even though we caught a 30% move, it's nothing. Again, these plays are not your friend. However, it can give you good exposure, and we saw the VGKs hit 200%, but these plays are harder than you think to hit. So be careful. We said it today. If you don't got deep pockets for this one or you don't have the budget plan, I wouldn't go too crazy, but I really like the exposure. And the reason is Italy is the weakest link of the EU. There was news today that Mario Draghi, the prime minister, wanted to resign. The president said, nah, we don't accept this. So that one's interesting. But remember, we've been bringing this up over the last couple weeks. Again, 4th of July weekend. This is what I opened up with. I said, watch out for Italy. Watch out for Europe. This bond fragmentation and what the ECB is doing and how they're handling it and the real risk that Italy poses. That is the reason why I'm in this play. And then on top of it now, this is another one of these energy plays, or at least related to the Gazprom stuff. Again, July 22nd is what you need to watch out for, but downside to Italy, they would definitely get affected. So it kind of covers all the bases. And then on top of it, this premium, it was literally cheaper than 2 months ago. The ETF was 20% higher, and you mean to tell me I got it out of the money with like 3 months of time, 2 months of time for 50% off? I said it was good, so I decided to go for it, and I'm really liking this play. But the thing I don't like about it is the ETF structure and kind of how they've played. I mean, it's very, very scammy, or you got to really hit it on the head. So be careful with that one. That is the first play. The second one, we brought this one up yesterday, Abivai. I'm really liking it. Again, I don't know when the data is going to come out tomorrow. You have a PDUFA, PDUFA, prescription drug user-free action. That is literally just a FDA approval, more or less, but that's going to be a catalyst. I don't know if it'll happen in the morning or after hours even, but if it does come early throughout the day, this one definitely could be a fun one. So watch out for that. I grabbed another one of the plays. Remember, I have the next week calls. I had the 162s. The 160s came down in value. I threw another $60 at it. Let's see what happens with it, but that's the second one. And then finally, number 3, baby, Alibaba. They had some very weird news today that they got called in by authorities over a police data breach. Literally, Chinese police had data stolen and they're calling in officials from Alibaba. So very weird reaction. It dropped 5%, bounced up, and then chilled and kind of stayed stable. And really, we've seen this before. You're either going to get a follow-up tomorrow or probably next week. I decided to go with the play. I grabbed the 98 put for tomorrow, spent $30. I'm assuming it can go up to $1 $1 if we get a big gap down, but I might even go for some next week plays on the downside for this tomorrow, simply just because of the news and everything we got. So we'll see what happens, but those are the main plays. As far as everything else, you guys remember those SPY puts? I did not go 0 for 5 this week. Amen. Amen. But I bought those SPY puts yesterday. We ended up waking up to a gain on them. So I sold out of the 372, the one closer to the money, sold out for $300. I spent about $280 for both contracts yesterday, got a $20 profit, made my other play free. And I said, okay, I'll hold the other one coming in today. And then by the end of the day, I decided to go for a 374 for $1. But those were the SPY plates. I sold out of the Veru. Remember, we bought puts or we bought the shares and then bought the put. The puts got absolutely clapped. Shares were up. I walked away with like a $400 net profit, I believe, after paying for the insurance. So thought I'd get out of it. Again, it's near the highs and I held it for a while. Just wanted to get out of that in the morning. And then I grabbed a Meta August $200 call. I grabbed 2 of them for $205. Spent about $400. I do have $5,000 in puts. I've been holding this for literally over a year. I bought Leap puts on Facebook at the beginning of 2021. Remember, I took $5,000 worth about halfway through this year. Still have another $5,000. So I was thinking coming into earnings, let's get some upside. The calls are cheap. I still have puts to the downside. We'll just get pretty much longer dated puts, shorter dated calls, and be able to play everything going on. But there was that one. And then I think as far as everything else, I had a couple more plays. Had the BABA, the Abivi, the EWI, and then I went with the BTUs like we talked about. Chain was absolutely dead. Kind of weird, but I said, okay, I'll grab a shorter term again. I have January's for ARLP. So I decided to go for the August 31 calls. I grabbed 2 of them at 40 cents a pop, $80 total. And again, thing about the coal play here is that this is what people are talking about will benefit. If there is an energy crisis in the Europe, that could lead to coal getting a little bit more bullish from here. So we will see what happens. But that was everything. Like we said, today was really fascinating. Where we go from here, you got to keep an eye on the dollar, equities, and Fed futures. And before you know it, Powell is going to be here, and really July is going to be over, and we are going to enter in to the crucial summer months of August and September. And I hope you're ready, baby. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to have a mechanism to ask yourself to confirm or deny any offense or defense. I need you to understand your problems by being specific with it so you could get a specific solution. And finally, if you leave, the enemy will leave. If you notice a problem now and get away from it and protect from it now, it will not arise. But if you stay there complacent, it's clapping. Just don't do it. Run from the enemy. He will flee, my friend. So let's go. Stay hydrated. Get excited. And again, major applause if you've made it this far. We are coming into the final quarter. If you don't know, here at the Colt, the year ends in November and you're almost there. So let's make it through. Let's get through these earnings. Get ready for the Fed. Keep your head on a swivel and get used to what the market's throwing at you. Don't let it throw you off your game, baby. And stay ready to go. But Colt, I love you, Chad. God bless you. I'll see you in the morning. Drink that water. Stay blessed. Go listen to some uncle. And that's it. I don't have any shirts to rip today. I'm chill, man. We good. I'm glad we made the Y. Honestly, I just feel blessed. You blessed. Let's get it. Have fun tomorrow. It's Friday, bro. You better have good vibes. Good vibes or go to bed. Okay, good night. Oh, is that weird? Okay, bye.